Welcome to the What I Wish I Knew After Pregnancy Loss podcast. I am your host, Shana Southern. I am an angel mum, a rainbow mum, a pregnancy loss practitioner, and trauma-informed coach. I created the Institute of Healing Through Pregnancy Loss out of my own experience with loss in the hopes to provide understanding and healing, educating people on pregnancy loss, and creating more women or men in trained support roles. In this podcast, I hope to shed light on what I wish I knew in relation to pregnancy loss, opening up the conversation, breaking the stigma, and bringing real-life stories plus guest experts. Thank you for being here with me today, and let's dive into today's episode. Okay, so now because Kelly has come through the pregnancy loss and trauma-informed practitioner certification, she is an ambassador for the certification. And I wanted to share with everyone her experience inside the certification. And also there will be a unique link for enrollment into the certification through Kelly's ambassador information. And that will be in the show notes as well. So this next part is just going to be some questions diving into Kelly's experience. So firstly, Kelly, we'll start with your story in terms of how you came to the certification. What drew you to the pregnancy loss certification?
I was ending up that all of the grief and all of the kind of what's next after our embryo decision, and was online just looking through, typing in different like pregnancy loss assistance, pregnancy loss help, pregnancy loss stories, like just trying to find something. And I came across your page. And it wasn't the first, second, or third time. I just kept coming back to it. I just kept coming back. And I'm in the States, you're in Australia. So I was like, that's probably not the best one for me to go to. I should probably find something more local. And every one that I looked at that was here, the page wasn't calling me. Your page was just so filled with all of these different options and different resources. And so I signed up for the journal prompting, and I started with the journal prompts. And then shortly after that, you offered a free masterclass. And I was like, okay. So I was looking at the other stuff. I'm like, I don't know, that's what I need right now. I don't know that I want to jump into something without knowing anything about it. I'd rather try to find a way to learn more. And with the free masterclass that came out, I hopped on, and the rest is history. I feel like I've been like hooked ever since then. But it was just the information that you shared in a masterclass, or in the first masterclass, left me, it was like a cliffhanger, just like waiting for more. And that more was in the certification program. So it was packed. All of your resources, all of your programs, all of your masterclasses are just so packed full of information that through that masterclass, I think my eyes were really opened on what didn't happen for me. And it was almost like that, if this didn't happen for me, then it's probably not happening for other people too. So how can I, being at the end of my journey, share what happened to me and share what we can do differently? And so then that was where I signed on for the certification program and was like, I want to learn more. And while I was in the certification program, hopped on every masterclass that you had. I think I was just trying to sponge my brain with so much information that if you were spitting it out, I was like pulling it in. But there's, like I said, it's every single class that you put out is so full of information, whether it's on grief and trauma, on emotions, on epigenetics. There's just so many different topics that you cover, understanding triggers and beliefs. There's so many topics in there that after that first masterclass, I was like, okay, I think this is what I'm looking for.
I love that. And we said, like at the beginning, you've been along for the ride. Like you were in the masterclass, and I was actually looking at your details inside my my portal and I saw all of the different tags that you have on your name. And I was like, you've pretty much taken advantage of every single thing that I've got available. And you have absorbed so much information in the masterclasses. You showed up in the certification. On every call, you were there, you were asking questions, you were doing the work. It's a testament to you as well, like for you to obviously see that there is this need for support. There is a gap in what you felt for you, and there's a gap in how then you can be that support for someone else so that you can fill that gap. And
Yeah,
you saw that and you made that connection and go, okay, I can use this now, use this certification, use this knowledge to bridge that gap.
absolutely.
Okay, so the next question is, what was going on in your world before you found this work? So you've already mentioned that you were at the sort of final part of your journey looking for that next step forward. What was some maybe thoughts that were going on inside of you? Obviously, you were navigating emotion and all of that, wanting that support, you know, knowing that if you're going through this, someone else is going through this too. But just before you jumped into everything, what was some maybe thought processes that you were thinking or what was happening for you?
I think for me, I was starting to, when I went through my journey, there was probably a handful of other women that I knew who were also going through a very similar journey or who had gone through infertility or miscarriages, but we never talked about it. We could be in the same office, in the same building, and it was like we knew we were seeing the same doctor, but it was like, okay, but I'm not going to ask. And when it's almost, I don't want to ask because if she falls pregnant and I don't know that I'm ready to hear that today. But it didn't mean that I wasn't over the moon happy for her. So it was still trying to navigate some of those. I want to be able to attend all these baby showers and I want to be able to go to these things and I want to be able to stay there the whole time and not be like, okay, great, here's my gift. I'll stay for a little bit and then I got to go just because I can feel like, or just send a gift because you know what? It's just not my time. This isn't going to work for me. So I think I was trying to navigate like all of those triggers and all of those emotions that were just like, these are boundaries that I need to set and I don't know how to set them. Or this is where like I see all of my friends and family are moving forward and I'm just like here. I'm not moving forward. So like where was I? I think I was just a little lost. I think I just didn't, I was still wearing that mask, still, it wasn't as much, it wasn't as bad, but there's still so many people who didn't know what was going on outside of wherever we were because I wasn't ready to talk about it. I didn't have a voice. I didn't have the courage to move forward and say, hey, this is what's happened to me. And there's 1 in 4 pregnancies out there that this is happening to. There's 1 in 6 women who are dealing with infertility issues right now. This is not something that's happening anymore to, oh yeah, I had a friend who had a friend who had a sister whose cousin. It's not like all of this removed that, oh my gosh, this is such a rare thing and it doesn't happen. But I feel like that's how society is still treating it. And so that's how like you internalize it that this isn't happening, this not very often, this is, it doesn't happen very often, and here I've had 6 and how does that happen, or whatever your number is. And it's just, it wasn't out there making it, I don't want to say normal because I don't like that word, but at the same time it's not as rare as everybody makes it seem, or as society, I don't want to say everybody, as society makes it seem. I think it's just not talked about. It's not discussed. It's not.
And it is, like you said, we want to be able to normalize the conversation and normalize asking questions, normalize checking in on people, normalize the emotions, the grief that's associated with everything.
And that it's
Because,
okay to talk about it.
yeah, because it isn't as rare as what it is made feel it is. I remember being told 1 in 4 pregnancies end in loss. And I remember feeling as I was going through it, I'm like, why do I feel like I'm 1 in a million? Why do
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the only one that's going through this right now?
Yeah.
When there is such a high statistic, really. And I felt so alone in it that I couldn't talk about it because I felt like it was all on me. I felt like I was the one that was failing
There's something
because,
wrong with you.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. There was something wrong with me.
that I was the rare case that it was happening to.
It's this anomaly. It's only 1 in 4 people in Australia, and you happen to be one of those four. That's, but that's how it feels, right?
Mm.
Because you're just, even though you might, I think it was afterwards that I started talking about a little bit more about my journey that people were like, oh, yeah, that happened to me too. And I'm like, what? Like, how did I not know that you also had a miscarriage? Like, how do we not know these things? And how are we not supporting each other through this?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That was my thought process then after that was like, if there were so many women that were experiencing it, why is it not spoken about? Why is there not tailored support for this? And you're still sent home from the hospital, most often with no support, no resources. You're sent home from the doctor's office with no support, no resources, no check-ins. And it just baffled me. I'm like, why? Why is that not happening? Why is that not protocol? Why is that not when
Yeah.
it's the woman's world has been turned on its head?
Yeah. And I felt like the check-in from the doctor wasn't a how are you doing? It was, okay, this is when we can make our next appointment. And so that's what you're supposed, okay, I should be feeling fine and I'm not. And so I'm just not going to talk about this, but okay, let's go. But I'm not okay with this. And when I was going through all this, we didn't have Instagram and social, maybe Facebook or MySpace, I think maybe back in the day. I feel like there's so much more support and so many more of these social media communities that if I wish I wasn't a part of this community, but I am. And I think it's fantastic that there is so much more support now than I feel like there was when we were going through a lot of our losses. It just wasn't there.
I have actually had a lot of women say to me since creating the supports that I have, they said, I wish you were around when I was going through my loss. And
Absolutely.
I wish I was around. I wish there was support for me going through my loss. I didn't get that support either. And it's hard to hear that because there was more around when I was going through it than when these women were going through it. So I could only imagine the sense of isolation even more in their healing, in their recovery. And that's the thing, though, they weren't given the spaces to recover. A lot of
Mhm.
the time, the women that I've spoken to, and some of these women are in their 80s,
Yeah.
they are still dealing with the grief and trauma of their loss or losses. And there were some in particular have mentioned to me, obviously that was their experience, but they still can't talk about it. It still is
Yeah.
too painful to talk
Painful.
about. They weren't given any space to heal, to grieve, to recover, to process what was going on. I still felt that isolation. I still felt that for me, even though I was obviously years on from what their experience was, but it's still not spoken about. It
Right.
still feels like you are the rare case. It still feels like you have to deal with it all on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like we're coming along slowly, but with progress where like we see somebody who writes a book and her book is out and it's just, yes, that's amazing. We're finally making progress and making headway. And then on the flip side, it's just, but why does that have to be like, oh my gosh, there's the book out now. This isn't new. This is something that's been going on for since women were getting pregnant. But yet it's so new that it's being talked about. And that's part of the what just breaks my heart is that where are those supports? Where are those missing pieces that this is just starting to become acceptable to talk about and have these conversations widespread?
Yeah, it's slowly but surely. I know that we're going to be making a difference in being able to have these platforms of support, but we'll see it in years to come. It's
Yes.
in the future
Yes.
generations.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's so empowering now that we're having this person has a TV show about it or a podcast or a book, and it's so many people are hopping on and listening and learning. And it's not just people who have had miscarriages. It's, I think now that it's out there, it's people who my sister had one, or my mom had one, or my spouse had one. How can I learn from your book or from your podcast or from your TV spot? And I think all of those things, like I said, really empowering for those of us who have been in this space. That we're starting to get there. It's just sad that it's taken this long.
I know. It's like you said, it's slow, but we are getting there and we're
Yeah,
starting to.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
We will change it. We'll change the world with what we're doing.
Yes. One book at a time,
One book at a time, one conversation at a time.
podcast at a time.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is what made you say yes to the certification? Was there a particular moment or realization that helped this was the right next step?
I think it was going in there. And so that first masterclass I sat in on, I had absolutely no idea what to expect. It was like, I'm just going to pop on and I'm going to go all in. I'm going to get the package that has the where you can stay and have the guest speakers and listen to them too. And I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm going to do it all. And I think my eyes were just so opened to all of this information that that I didn't know about. And if I didn't know, how could I learn as much as I could and share that with other people who didn't know? And how can I help with my journey? I was inspired by everything that you were doing. And it was almost, I know I'm not anywhere near that stage or that level, or I don't even know how to do any of this stuff, but how can I share my journey? Just being in that masterclass with so much information and listening to the speakers and everything that they were having to say and learning all of these things that didn't happen for me.
Like you said, and I think I remember you saying it in the masterclass, it was hard to hear because there was so much that was available that could have been easily implemented into your healing journey, but you were never told about. That you're like, maybe I could have been in a different place. But unfortunately, hindsight's a wonderful thing. We can sit here and we can know what we know now, but we can't go back and change the past. Like all we can do is use what we've got and change how the future is going to be written. This is why I want to bring that knowledge, my growth to women like yourself, to women who are ready to step into that leadership and support role, because there's a lot that's available to you that you're not hearing. Well, from what I've noticed, like you're not really hearing that from anyone else. You're not hearing it from the doctors, you're not hearing it from the specialists, you're not hearing it from general day-to-day conversation. There's not really that much support educationally out there in terms of how I see things and how I present that. I remember you
And
saying that.
yeah, and I just appreciated the honesty in that first masterclass. It was, you shared the rawness of your story. There wasn't anything that was sugar coated or anything that was off topic or off limits to talk about. It was, this was my story. This is who I am and where I came from. And this is what I have created. And I think talking about, while you were talking about all of that at the same time, I was intrigued when you kept saying, I've already done it, so you won't have to learn to figure it out. You can learn from my mistakes so you don't make them on the next part of your journey. And to me, that was just like, she's sharing everything. She's like throwing it all out on the table. And it's, let me see what I can pick up and put in my bag while she's throwing it out there. And I was not disappointed when I got into the certification, because that's exactly what it is. Like, it is just, again, filled with any topic you can possibly think of, it's in there. And even going through, like, we know that our experiences are all unique, but so are our healing processes. And I loved the fact that it wasn't just one-sided. It was, you may see somebody who needs this type of, this is how you're going to have to work with them on this way, or these are some possible options you have for working with somebody who needs to get up and move around and do different kinds of body work, and someone who is withdrawn, or we're talking about spiritual healing. There was just so many different things. And so there wasn't anything that I could think of that I didn't hear enough about this, because there was so much information, and to just have it right at my fingertips. So now if like I come across something while I'm creating one of my master classes or creating something for my signature series, I'm like, okay, I know Sharna talked about that. I can just hop back into it and pull up the lesson from that day or the video or some of the PDFs, and I have them. They're like still right at my fingertips.
And that's again, it's what I saw was missing
Mhm.
in educational programs that I was taking, courses that I was taking. Not only did I want you to feel supported while you were navigating it, so you had that high touch one-on-one support, but not just that, you had the lifetime access to it, because this is essentially my life's work. It's everything that I've been through, it's everything that I continue to grow through, and you get access each time I add things in. It's there for
Trauma
you.
and
Yeah, it's there for you. And, you can use it while you're creating your support processes. And like you said before, too, like you came into the mentorship, this is where we go deeper into that. This is where we go into the actual build of that. How do you use then your knowledge in business? How do you
yeah,
create the business that you want to create, but that is sustainable? And it's not just going to leave you emotionally burnt out, physically burnt out, or financially burnt out. So all encompassing, we take what you learn and we bring that all together.
yeah. And I loved that about the practitioner course too. It was, you're learning all of, for lack of a better word, the guts of this is what you're going to use for your programming. Like the all of the trauma informed, the boundaries, the emotions, all of that stuff. And then you're also learning, okay, moving forward, now if you want to make this a business, this is how we do that. And like the second half was all on how to create your business and your niche and finding your brand and finding out who you are and what you want to go into, and starting to build that,
Yeah.
and starting to, yeah, get to that piece then where you just phase into the mentorship. But it was, I knew nothing about business. I knew nothing about how to create any of this. And so it was like that the practitioner course has it all. Like it's got all of those guts that you're going to use for your program, and then it has how you can start to create that program. So it wasn't just stopping at one section. It was a building block of the whole, like you're creating while you're learning. And I thought that was really significant.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of, again, it was what I saw was missing in a lot of other educational courses, was that you were learning the knowledge, the awareness, but then how do you create a business out of that? So that's when I knew I had to create the business foundations inside the certification, so that if the certification was the only thing that you came into, you still had the ability to know that for yourself, the basics of then how to move forward and how to start using that information, how to start building a business. But then obviously when you come into the mentorship, that's where we dive deep, and that's where we really start to get into the nuts and bolts. But it's all that progression, and it's all fun because you're getting to step into your purpose. You're getting to in all
Mhm.
elements of that, you're getting to step into that passion, the purpose and the fulfillment that you know that you're meant to have.
All while learning about yourself too. And I think there was just so many different pieces that I was able to, like I said, gain the confidence, know what was next for me, like all of this stuff that I went in like just lost.
Mm.
And then coming out and being like, okay, I know what I want to do. I don't know how to do it, but this is what this is what we've done thus far. Let's move into the mentorship and get it done. But it was coming in not really knowing anything, and having that just like unsure, unsettling feeling, to finishing the practitioner course and being like, I can do this. I've got this. I learned all about myself. I gained some self confidence. I believe in my story. I believe in the value behind it, and ready to move forward.
I love that. I love that sense of, I don't know how this is all going to play out. I just know that this is right for me. And then you come out the other end and you're like, I got this. I can
Yeah.
actually support people in this now. So that was my next question. How did the certification support you personally, not just professionally? Because a lot of women do come into this space, obviously with the vision to help others. But I intentionally created the course to help heal you while you learn how to help heal others. And you just touched on that then as well. And that's essentially the thing that was what women were taking away from the certification, was that deeper sense of self-awareness,
Yeah.
because it's not just the knowledge, it's not just the videos that you're watching, the PDFs that you're downloading. It's that sense of embodiment first while you're learning it, so that then you're learning how that healing feels for you.
Yeah. And the journal prompts that went along with it, the worksheets, it wasn't just listening to videos and taking, I'm a frantic note taker, so like taking a whole binder of notes during the practitioner course, but it was, these are the exercises at the end. Now I need you to do X, Y, and Z to make sure, okay, I am retaining it. Like, this is information that is sticking because you were having the resources out there that were making sure it was reinforced. It wasn't just a learn and move on, a listen to and move on, a something that was in my ear and just moving on. But there were actual follow-ups to reinforce what I had just learned. The quizzes halfway through to make sure I'm remembering, like, this is what we just talked about. Are you retaining it? So yeah, it just, the whole thing was like a step process. And in the process, you're like, I'm going through and able to, oh, wow, oh, look at what I just learned, or I just did that about myself. And I wasn't able to do that 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. There's no way I would have been in the space to be able to do any of this. And yeah, learning through the process for myself while learning how to be able to assist others through their journey too.
And it's only going to, you can read through someone who's just got it out of a textbook. You feel that in that support on the other side of you. It's a very different support when the person that's sitting on the other side of you is embodied in that tool or that resource or that piece of awareness that they're given, that they're giving you, like the client, because you know that they've experienced that first. You know what that feels like, what that looks like. And it's a much different place to come from, and more reassuring for the person that's sitting on the other side, to know that the person that's supporting them not only has gone through the experience, but has deeply embodied the support for themselves first. One in 4 pregnancies will result in miscarriage. 1 in 8 women will experience infertility. 1 in 100 women will experience recurrent miscarriage. And 1 in 160 births end in stillbirth. Have you been wanting to make a difference in the lives of women or men who have experienced pregnancy loss because you can see so many suffering in silence, but you just don't know how? Collectively, we can change how bereaved parents can access mental, physical, and emotional support after their experience. There is a lot of women with unhealed trauma, and there is a huge gap in the current support system when it comes to bereaved parents' recovery after loss. There are too many women and men suffering in silence. The Pregnancy Loss Practitioner Certification is a worldwide, one-of-a-kind program that gives you proven methods designed for healthcare professionals, medical staff, midwives, nurses, doulas, birth workers, coaches, and angel parents alike. The Pregnancy Loss Practitioner Certification is bridging that gap. It will give you a proven support structure to follow and education specific to pregnancy loss, created by a lost mum. It is creating more education specifically for loss so that you can enhance your service and become the point of difference. Or you can create the support that you so desperately needed in your healing after loss. This is the next level of growth and expansion you have been searching for. So does this sound like something that you have been searching for? Let's explore this more together. You can head to the episode show notes where you'll find the program application, or direct message me on Instagram and let's open up the conversation in how you can use this education. You have a gift, and I look forward to supporting you and witnessing you bring your gift to the world, healing and transforming women's lives.
Yes.
So what shifted for you since becoming certified? What has changed in your confidence, in your practice, your relationship to your own story?
I think the biggest change that I have had is the confidence in talking about it, the ability to talk about it without feeling like there's something wrong with me, without feeling that guilt, or just all of those times before where it was just going to be like a mask put on and go out. And now it's just, oh, how come you guys don't have kids? Oh, let me tell you. But it just knowing that my story has value and it doesn't deserve to be like shoved under the rug. It deserves to be told. And just as much as anyone else on their journey, our stories are just as valuable as anyone else's lost stories. And they need to be told. We need to get this out and make sure, that learning that grief is not linear. And there's going to be moments where we're going to come from here to here and then go back and revisit. And it's like that you have that tornado on the page. And I see that all the time. And I'm like, oh, yes, now I am moving from piece to piece, stuck in this spiral of grief. And when it's not to say that because I have this confidence and I have the ability to tell my story, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to have moments where this is super sad for me. This is something that I'm experiencing that I know I'll never have, but I don't have to stay there. So I have the tools and the ability to recognize, okay, this is what self-care looks like for me. These are some grounding exercises. This is something somatic that I need to do, but looking at everything as like holistic healing. And I need to make sure that my whole body is along for the healing journey, and that I like that from the body up and not the head down, because my head can't tell my heart how to feel, and my head can't tell my body how to react to different things, but my body can slowly learn that I am safe and that I'm okay, and that will eventually get to my head to be like, you're okay, you got this. And I think that was really important for me to be able to recognize and learn moving forward on how I am going to be presenting any of my information, and knowing that I got it, I can do it.
You can, absolutely. And obviously, since becoming certified, you have now, through the business mentorship, we have created the masterclasses for you. So you are now not only thinking about, oh, this would be nice, support like this would be nice. You've done the work and now you're actually creating it.
Yeah.
You've
It's no
taken it.
longer just thinking about it. It's how do I make this happen? Instead of, oh, this support would be nice here. Sharna, how do we get this to work? Knowing what my human design is, and knowing like this is where I'm at with knowing myself and learning more about myself through that. But yeah, like seeing this is what's a gap here. This is the support that's needed. How do I get there? Instead of that's a support that's needed.
Yeah. And just
but
sitting
not
with
but
that.
not being brave and yeah, not being brave enough to move forward and do anything. But now it's okay, this is a support, how do we make it happen?
So it's not only just that, yeah, you see it, it's that you are now making that change. You're making that impact that you wished you had and creating that support for other women who are navigating it. So it's not just this, oh, that's a nice to have. It's actually like a tangible reality for you now.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's just talk about obviously being an ambassador for the program. So what does it mean to you to represent this work and share it with others?
So I am honored to be in this situation or in this position where I can talk about how valuable the certification program was for me, how valuable the mentorship program was for me, what I got out of it, and what I feel is missing, and what other people will be able to pick up from what they're missing. I think being able to talk about any of the questions that somebody has when they want to talk to somebody who's been in it and not just the person who's teaching it. I think sometimes that is a little bit of a valuable aspect to have too, where I've gone through it and I can answer questions from this side of the table, as opposed to you being able to tell them what they're going to get. I can say, this is what I got. And so I think that's hugely valuable. And there's so many, whether you're coming in to learn more about yourself and you have an idea that maybe this might be what you want to do, is figure out how to assist other women or figure out how to bring more light to the topic. I think it's definitely something where all of those can be reached. All of those are tangible by going through the programming and finding out what you're capable of, what you want, and being able to build on that. And me being able to talk about what I learned from the program, where I was then to where I am now, is huge. And I don't know that had I gone through any other program, I feel like all the other programs I looked at were a la carte, where it was like you sign up, but then if you want the trauma training, you have to have extra. If you want this, you have to have extra. And it was just like a base of just a very small base. And yours was so encompassing that it wasn't an a la carte building all of these different pieces into, this is the program I signed up for. Oh, now I need to add this and I need to add this and I need to add that. You had that, like you already added it all in appropriately. It flowed. So to be able to answer questions for anybody who wants to know, does it talk about this? Does it talk about, absolutely. What doesn't it talk about? But I'm honestly honored to be able to represent the program and talk about the value that anybody who signs up for it is going to be getting and what they're going to walk away with, as opposed to when they started, like the difference that they will have from beginning to end.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. And it's a
No
valuable,
brownie points from it.
it is a valuable piece because it's not just, yes, this certification is created by a lost mum for lost mums, but or for professionals also that want to help lost mums. But it's a different perspective of mine as opposed to yours. So being able to represent the program for someone just to reach out to you and go, can you tell me like where you were at, what changed for you, the questions that maybe they're battling with to make that decision, to be able to talk to someone who has gone through it, lived it, breathed it for a period of time and consumed so much of what you did. It is a valuable piece, and it's adds that more, again, that more holistic element. It's not just me telling people how amazing it is. It's someone that has actually gone through it and experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, for sure.
So that kind of again leads into the next question. Why do you believe more women need to know about this certification? What's missing in the support space that this training actually delivers?
Did you say what's missing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, no, what's missing in the support space?
For what's missing in the support space in general is that there's not enough.
Mm.
There's just not enough support. And I think you have to be willing to almost hop on social media to join a community of lost moms that nobody wants to be in, but we're all in. It's just that group that nobody wants to join. And I hope that makes sense. Nobody wants to join it because we don't want to be in this. We don't want this to be our situation. But at the same time, having that community on social media is huge. Like right now, you're in Australia and I'm here in the States, and Fiona's in another country, and Lisa and everybody, Melissa, all these people are in all of these different countries. And for me to hear what other countries are doing and what that support system looks like, and to be able to incorporate some of that into what I am doing moving forward, or what I am able to tell people that, hey, this is where we're at, this is what we're missing, and this is what other countries are doing that are having success with it. I think for other women, like, why What was the question? Why would they want to join?
Hang on, let me see the word.
Or why do we
Why do
believe,
you
why do I
believe
believe?
more women need to know about this certification, and how does that bridge that gap in that what's missing?
So I think the more women that we can have go through this means that we have more practitioners out there who are pregnancy loss practitioners. And the more that we will be able to bridge that gap of not having anybody who understands. And I think it's just really beautiful to be able to work with a lost mom who's also working with a therapist and be able to bridge that gap even between the having the possibility of that wraparound piece where they have the therapist for the therapeutic piece, and then they have the practitioner for the everyday. Yes, this is how we can move forward, and this is, it's okay, and this is what you need to be able to handle, and just be that support with them on their journey. So I think the more women that we can have go through your course is the more women we have out there who are practitioners, the more women who are getting the word out, the more women who are hopping on podcasts and writing books and doing all of this that can just really, where you said earlier, one day we're getting there. One day we will get there, because I think the more people we have trained, the more people
Mm.
we're just spreading that wealth of knowledge out. And I think a lot of that is going to be important to assist folks who had a sister or had a spouse or had a partner or had a friend, or they just don't know how to, what do we do?
Mm.
And I think a lot of what you teach in your practitioner course also fills those gaps.
Yeah, and like you said before, what is in the course is holistic, which is
Mhm.
not something that you find in terms of coming from the medical system or support that is naturally given to you. Because if it's coming from the medical system, they might just say, go and see a therapist. But when you've experienced that experience as trauma, a therapy session is, unless they're trauma trained, they're not exactly going to offer you the support that your body needs in those moments. So I think, just like you said before, having, and this is what's missing, this is what I see as missing, is that holistic element of healing. It's not just your mind, it's not just your body. It is, like you said also before, it's the bottom up approach. Internally, we have to look at its nutrition, it's our daily habits, it's supporting our body with safety, it's so that we don't get triggered every time we walk outside the door, every time we're anticipating a conversation that could potentially, you feel, is going to snowball into a panic attack. Or it's being able to navigate day-to-day stuff from the perspective of holistic healing.
Navigating it by being seen and heard, like just somebody who
Yeah.
gets it.
It's not just, we're not just pieces. We're a whole body, and every part of that whole body has been affected, and it needs to be seen, and it needs to be held, and needs to have support given to it. That's what I do believe, that, correct me if I'm wrong, that the
No.
certification does deliver, that essentially is missing.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a lot of those things like we talked about earlier that I didn't know about any of that. No one ever told me any of that. But
Mm.
it's the pieces that are in your program, all of those things that are missing when we're talking to all of those externals that aren't sharing that holistic approach.
Yeah. And like you said too before, the things that could have probably been seemingly easy to integrate into your healing journey that you're not made aware of. Yeah, no, I do. I appreciate you sharing that. So, for someone on the fence about joining, what would you say to them, especially if they're doubting their readiness or wondering if this is for them?
I would really encourage them to follow you on all of your socials. You put a lot of great posts out, a lot of great information, a lot of this is where we're going, this is what I'm doing, this is something new that I'm creating. But you do a really good job at putting stuff, information out on your socials. Hop into one of your master classes. I think if they were able to connect with you through that masterclass piece and see this is what you have to offer, I don't think anybody would say that's not for me. Also, reach out to myself as an ambassador and ask questions. Like if you have questions, ask them. The practitioner support that you have within your courses when you hop on the Facebook page and you're all of a sudden in the Facebook group for the practitioner course, there's all of these, you have access to so many people. So it's not just you that we have access to, but all of the other practitioners, and putting questions in through the class, putting questions in and getting answers from all kinds of people. Yes, I went through that. It's so supported. The support that you offer, not only through the Instagram, through the Facebook, through the socials, but through the one-on-ones, through providing us a network of each other to be able to support each other. And you've done it worldwide. And I think that alone is just really cool.
Yeah. I knew it wasn't just me in Australia that needed support. So there was
Yeah.
definitely that need. And it's actually the fact that it is worldwide, I have students worldwide, was insane. I was not expecting such, I guess, openness from other countries as well to go through the program. It is incredible to have women all over the world jumping in and taking advantage of the knowledge. And then also, like you said, in the extra support that you get while you're navigating it, that's the support that if you're wondering, how do I apply this? Or this has come up for me, or it's come up for someone I've spoken with. How can we apply that, what I've just learnt, to these specific real life examples as well? So you can start really seeing how to use that information.
Yeah. Absolutely. And even having some of the guest speakers that you've had on and having them being so open, they may not be practitioners in your group, but they're so open to, oh, feel free to reach out if you have more questions on anything we talked about. I know I've reached out to Eva a lot. And so there's like a whole different aspect of holistic healing that she brings to the table. So it's just being able to connect to everybody that you bring. There's just so much support surrounding you through the program, that it's not just all of the incredible support that you offer, but then you've extended that to say, hey, this is my program. Everybody in here is going to support each other. And yeah, it's fantastic. But I would really recommend anybody who's on the fence about it, hop in a masterclass, hop on your socials, see what you have going on, and ask questions.
Mm.
Ask questions. Yeah. I'll answer questions if you have any. I know, ask questions to you, but you always take the time. Just ask.
Yeah, I love, and to be honest, like I love people asking me questions because it shows their curiosity and it also shows what maybe avenue or path they may be exploring to take that to the next step. So I do really invite people to ask questions. And even through the certification, I really do encourage questions. I encourage what you're learning. If there's something that you like that's challenging, ask questions. If there's something that you want to dive deeper into, ask questions, because I'm always willing to also create new support. And yeah, in terms of the guest speakers, the guest professionals that I get in there, that is your support net at the end too. So you're not just coming out as a single practitioner on your own in this big world. You have a net of other
Mhm.
practitioners, other professionals that you can reach out to that you may have resonated with a modality that they've shared, or you might want to dive deeper into a different version of healing, a different maybe nutrition, a different element of fertility or trauma. There is so many people that I get in to talk on the elements that I know is important in healing, because again, it's a holistic experience. It's not just in your head, or it's not just in your body. It's a collective experience. And there were parts of my healing journey that I knew that I wasn't educated enough to speak to, but there was people out there that were. So I connected with them, I brought them in, and then they become your support space as well.
Yeah.
So again, it's
And
not
you're
just me.
always, yeah, and you're always asking, like, where do you see there being a gap? What can I offer more support in? Can I offer more support in grief and trauma, in epigenetics, in other? Let me know. So you are always like very quick to hop on any suggestions and create a masterclass. Just, oh, that's something you want to learn about? Let me create a masterclass for you. But yeah, you are always really good about listening to suggestions and seeing where you can fill the gaps.
Because I know that there's a lot of knowledge that I have, and even if you haven't come through the certification, and you might be supporting existing women in your existing business, there are potential ways that I can still guide you in either enhancing your certification or being able to take what I have and implementing it into your work. I'm always willing to share more and create more, especially inside the certification as well. Like I said, you get lifetime access to it. So I always make sure that if there is extra support, more resources, more videos that I can create, more education that I'm coming across, that I create them and you get first access to them. More often than not, you'll either get free access to them or you get a significant discount on those programs as well. It's always a space that I want to be evolving. It's not ever like a one and done thing because people's experiences are always evolving. Who you're encountering, the conversations are always changing. So people are always needing the different types of support. So this is where I do love to put that out to you guys and say, what can I help you with? How can I support you? And then create it.
Yes.
So the next one is you've seen behind the curtain. What would you say about the depth and quality of the certification? So there are a lot of surface level programs out there. What makes this one different?
So I think what makes yours different is that it's not a one and it's not that a la carte. It is a one and done. Like you don't have to be adding all of these pieces just to get to the end of the, oh, you now that's just like level one for the practitioner course. Now you need to add X, Y, and Z, and then you have everything in there as like a whole program. It's got all of those different components to it. I think being behind the curtain, I don't I don't think again that there is a topic that wasn't covered and going deeper into them if like we it's like we just talked about, if there is something that I'm like, hey, I really want to learn more about this, you'll create that. So it's not that there was ever a time that I didn't feel supported, that I couldn't ask questions, the monthly Thursday meetings. So they were always there for me to come in and be like, this is my progress. This is what I'm struggling in. This is where I need assistance. And if it wasn't waiting until then, you have so many one-on-one calls with you through the time frame, but then you can also add the monthly meetings that don't count as your one-on-one calls. So there's always an opportunity to find you. There's always an opportunity to, hey, I'm stuck and this is where I need more support. And it was always there. So I never felt, as lost as I was coming in, I never felt going through that I was just spinning or spiraling, that I still don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm in this section and I don't know where to go and nobody's available to help me. And it's just an online course and I'll get to the end and then get a certificate. It's just not like that. There's so much interaction and so much involvement. So it's your program and you own it. Like you take control of the information that you're putting out and you check in and you make sure that whoever is in your program is getting out of it what they felt like they needed to get out of it. And I think that was one of the things that I appreciated the most is I walked in without expectations, not knowing what I was getting myself into, and walked out feeling completely supported, knowing that if there was ever a question or if there was a section or something where I was unsure or I needed a little bit more guidance, you were there. And if you were, not only were you there, but I could open it up and throw in a question to the group and get multiple questions back. So there are multiple answers back. There was never a time that it was just like, I'm going through this online course and there's nobody at the other end.
Yeah, which is, again, this is why I asked that question, because I have personally experienced courses like that where it is such an important course, but then I felt like I fell through the cracks. I felt like there wasn't support when I needed it the most, and there wasn't access to, if I couldn't make a monthly meeting, there wasn't access to get support any other way. As much as I loved the information in the courses, I didn't get the integration support that I needed throughout. And I felt like I fell through the cracks. And you do generally invest a lot of money into these courses, and to walk away not feeling wholeheartedly supported, you get, like you said, you get the certificate at the end. What's the point when you've just floated through this course, and then you're like, at the end, you're like, I
Right.
don't actually know what I've got from this. Whereas the way that I created it, it was very intentional in the fact that I wanted you to feel fully supported while you lent into your vision, into your purpose, so that when you left, yes, you got the certification, you got that piece of paper, but you also felt like an embodied, confident leader, practitioner in that space, that I can actually create the support now.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't just notes that I was taking on paper. There was emotion behind it. There was like just knowledge behind all of those notes. It wasn't just taking notes to take notes.
And
I
you
felt
do.
like I was doing something during the class.
I've got to look busy. Yeah.
I know, I feel weird right now that I'm not taking any notes and I'm on here with you. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Oh, I love it. Because you do. Every time we chat, it's always, you can end up with a booklet full of notes. But it's
Yeah,
different this time. I'm asking you everything.
I know. This is weird.
So I guess now, just, I know we've spoken about obviously what you're creating, but what's your personal mission moving forward as a practitioner and as an ambassador? Who do you feel most called to support? And what's your vision from here?
So my vision from here would be like long term to live in a world where those supports are on every corner. Like they're just like the Walgreens or the pharmacy that's on every corner. Those are also like support systems. We're here. But I think getting the knowledge out there, changing social norms, just making sure that there are safe places where women can talk about these things, talk about their losses, talk about whatever's going on during their journey, that they just need a safe place to land. And by safe, just like safe for your body to feel heard and seen. And I think my my just filling those gaps that I didn't have. That's like my biggest mission is to fill the gaps that I didn't have. But the folks that I think I'm most called to would be those women who have gone through their journey and come out at the other end without a baby prior to their miscarriages or infertility and not having a rainbow baby after. So I think that is what I know best based on my story, and being able to utilize my journey in the way that I am putting together my classes, teaching my classes, incorporating different things that I know I was missing. And I think that's the population that I feel I would like to walk through and assist with that what's next. How do I repurpose my life from the plan that I had to the plan that God has, or the plan that the universe has that's just not in alignment with mine? And how do I cope with that difference? And how do I move forward without forgetting, and move forward honoring instead of leaving everything behind?
Because it's a very different space to be in. Like, obviously, yes, you've experienced loss, you've experienced trying to conceive after loss and the heartache and the hardships that come with both of those. But there's also then that added element of I didn't get it air quotes my happy ending. So what now? What the hell do I do with my life now when it doesn't look like it had from all of the years that I was anticipating getting to adulthood, getting married and having children? When that vision is so deeply ingrained, how do you shift that? How do
Yeah.
you reconnect with that new identity now? And like you said, repurposing. How do you find purpose and meaning in your life now when it doesn't mean what it meant before?
Yeah. And learning how to move forward, coping with that. I've let everyone down in my life. I've let, my spouse down. I've let my partner down. I let my family down. My parents aren't going to be grandparents. My sisters and brothers aren't going to be nieces and nephews to my children. And how do you cope with that in the background? That it's not just you who's losing or had the grief and loss of this dream. It's everybody that's surrounding you that was dreaming it with you. So, how do you move forward, letting them know this is my new purpose? And thank you for everything that you shared with me and for going through this journey with me. But now we're going to honor that, and we're going to move forward on a different path.
Yeah. And it is a very difficult transition to be in,
Mhm.
especially when you do have a lot of external people that are only really ever invested in your happiness. But for it to look different, it can also bring up a lot of things for them and in
Yeah,
thinking that maybe you're making the wrong decision and projecting that out onto you. So it's also really being confident in that decision for yourself so that you don't look back over your journey and have regrets and have guilt, that you know you are making the best decision for you.
yeah, for sure. For sure. And asking for their support in that. And I keep saying my parents are, but it's also like my spouse's families too. And it was the loss on both sides for us. And even his loss, and how do I help him through that and us moving forward together? Because now we look different.
Yeah. And it's a very challenging place to be when there's a lot of other people to consider in that too. It just for you and your partner, that's already two different people to navigate, two different upbringings, two different value systems, two different belief systems, two different ways of navigating the healing and the grieving.
Yeah.
And then you've got your extended family too of the parents who are also losing a future. Like you said, they're not going to have grandkids and navigating that. So there's a lot to process and not only help yourself through, but help other people through because you have to, not that you have to help them come on board with your future now.
Yeah. And that was so true. Like when you said different ways of coping with loss, there's a lot of different ways of coping with loss. And it was hard to go through that and I think, not be saying, my way is the right way. Why don't you feel the same way I do? And it was just, we were just different ways of coping with the loss, different, we were seeing different things from different perspectives too. And everybody has their own way of handling grief and loss, and finding a way to come together through that is just so crucially important.
Yeah, because it can either make or break you, really. It can bring you a lot closer when you can learn how to support each other in it. It can be very easy to just think of how you're feeling and why they're not feeling the same way. But when you're given tools to help each other cope and
Mhm.
help each other through it, then it can become an extra element of healing for your relationship, an extra layer of growth. And it doesn't necessarily need to mean that the marriage falls apart or the partnership falls apart, which a lot of the time, and not all of the time, but there is a lot of relationships that do fall apart because they haven't been able to come together in that healing process.
Yeah. Yeah. And just respecting the fact that everybody, I think, copes with loss a little bit different.
Mm,
And there's not one universal right way to cope with the grief and the loss, and to handle that when you're ready to move forward. There's, everybody has to do it in their own way, in their own time,
absolutely.
utilizing that pause.
Yes, that comes in handy in many different ways.
Yes.
So, just wrapping all of this up now, is there anything else that you'd love to say to a woman who's just discovered this space or who might be at the very beginning of her own healing or practitioner journey?
So the only thing I can think of on that would be, hello, my name's Kelly. How can I answer any questions to help you navigate your way through this, and to help you navigate your decision?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Send her a DM, ask her questions.
ask a question. Yes, ask those questions.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way the outcome will be something that I know, if I wouldn't have asked the questions, I wouldn't have felt confident in my decision moving forward. So yes, ask the questions, find out what you need, and see how somebody involved in the program, whether it be you, whether it be me, whether it be somebody else, can answer some of those questions to get you where you need to be.
Beautiful. And again, like I said before, I'm going to link all of your details in the show notes so that if anyone does want to reach out to you, ask you questions, they are just one click away. They can access you directly and open up the chat if they need.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much. This will probably end up being a two-part episode. So I do really appreciate you, Kelly, for taking the time today and sharing what you have about your story, about how you navigated it, and also about being an ambassador for the pregnancy loss and trauma informed practitioner certification.
I appreciate you being along for my journey and my ride, and helping me navigate my way through so that I can be here.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And that's my biggest mission is to see women stepping into that support role and helping them create businesses that are sustainable, not businesses that pop up and then a year later they're gone. I want to see this support available for years to come for our future generations. So, having the certification available to equip you with the knowledge, and then having the mentorship available to help you build that sustainable business that is aligned to you and your energy is my biggest mission. No, I really do appreciate you and appreciate you being
For
here.
letting me be part of it.
You're so welcome. Thank you to all that have listened in. If this episode was valuable to you, I invite you to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and I look forward to supporting you on the next episode.